Hello, this is Matt on the Moon Lambo channel. Anybody out there interested in buying a Ferrari with your XRP? Like, I understand we haven't had the bull run yet, but once we get there and XRP hits a new all-time high in interest price discovery, anybody out there listening interested in purchasing a Ferrari with their XRP? Because you can now, look at the headline from you today, Ferrari now accepts payment in Bitcoin ETH XRP. And that's not all technically, but I feel a little bit conflicted about that because I'm pretty sure, based on my stupid-ass name on this YouTube channel, that I'm supposed to buy a Lambo with my XRP. Would it be wrong? I don't know. The Ferraris sound pretty cool, too. But check this out. This is kind of a cool development. I thought I'd share it with you. Because increasingly, you actually will see stuff like this happen. Like the idea of crypto, including XRP, replacing the role of traditionally what fiat currencies do. Like, of course, we're going to keep going in that direction. Now, there are certain hurdles, including from a tax perspective in the United States where I live, but I still think directionally this is the way that you're going to go. Not that it's ever going to completely, supplant fiat currencies. I mean, maybe in a fantasy land way far out in the future, I guess maybe, but certainly not in my lifetime. But even so, it's just so interesting that the first idea, the first use case proposed for a cryptocurrency, peer-to-peer cash system, as Satoshi Nakamoto envisioned for Bitcoin, that first use case envisioned might be among the last to be fully adopted, but you still can use it today. And so Ferrari is accepting this. So then there's the question of, to what degrees is actually going to matter? How does it impact markets? And I want to share with you some perspective from somebody who's very well known in the world of crypto, because I just found it to be insightful. I was like, yep, that's pretty well spot on. And then I want to share with you some perspective on a different topic from stuff from attorney John Deaton, which will ultimately lead into an update on the SBF trial. Here's a headline from Cointelegraph. Caroline Ellison wanted to step down, but feared a bank run on FTX. But before going further, I do want to be clear, I do not have a financial background of any kind. I am not offering financial advice, and you definitely should not buy or sell anything because of anything I say or write. I'm just an enthusiast who enjoys making YouTube videos about crypto-related topics, but just as a hobby and just for fun. All right, so as far as being able to purchase a Ferrari with crypto, it's true. You can use that to make the purchase. The company that they're using, I believe it was BitPay. Yeah, it's BitPay. And so what they do is they will take your cryptocurrency and then immediately convert it into a fiat currency, because that's what Ferrari actually wants. But that's fine. You're still actually using your crypto to make the purchase, and then it's just converted. And so some people like Peter Schiff will say, well, they're not actually accepting your Bitcoin. Well, it depends here. You get into a game of semantics, because the payment was made. The payment was made in what? A cryptocurrency. And then what did the merchant receive? The merchant received a fiat currency. So what if there's a middleman in between? It doesn't matter. It's a similar concept to when you use a credit card. When you consider yourself to have paid for a coffee or something like that using your credit card, well, not exactly. Because where's your money actually going? Your money's not going to the merchant. If you want to be precise, your money actually goes to the credit card company. There's settlement with that transaction from you to your credit card, the credit card company, and then it's the credit card company that actually pays the merchant that provided you the coffee. So the fact that there's a middleman in between there doesn't mean that you now didn't pay the merchant for the coffee, just because there's an additional step that happened in between. You still made the payment. And so some people like to play these semantics games. And yes, I get it. That's in terms of the guts. Yes, I'm not disputing what's happening behind the scenes. I'm just saying it's stupid if you're playing this game of semantics. So just wanted to share that. But here is some perspective from the Wolf of All Streets, very well known in the world of crypto, 911,800 followers on social media platform X. And he wrote the following: Ferrari to accept crypto payments. Ferrari has started accepting cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin, Ether, and USDC for its luxury cars in the United States, with an eye on expanding to Europe. The Italian automaker has partnered with BitPay, a major crypto payment processor, to handle the transactions and instantly convert the digital assets to fiat currency, shielding the dealers from crypto's notorious volatility. The move comes in response to demand from both young and traditional investors who are part of Ferrari's client base. I'll just pause a note here. I haven't talked about this in a while, but it is so true. Like, we are in the midst of the greatest wealth transfer in the history of our species. And it's just, it has to do with inheritance. I know, bleak subject, but it just is the case that there are going to be a lot of younger people who happen to be very pro-crypto who are going to be inheriting trillions and trillions and trillions of dollars. They're pro-crypto, more money will go into crypto, and there will actually be more usage of crypto. That's ultimately why Ferrari's doing this. That's what he's getting at right here. We're just super duper early right now. Even after 14 years, it's incredibly early. Anyway, Scott Melker, the Wolf of Wall Street, continues. Despite the general hesitancy among blue chip companies to adopt crypto due to its volatility and regulatory uncertainty, Ferrari sees it as an avenue for growth. The company aims to attract a new financially capable audience who may not have considered buying a Ferrari before. The brand also maintains its commitment to carbon neutrality by 2030, citing ongoing efforts in the crypto industry to reduce its environmental impact. My take. Great news for adoption, but unlikely to move the needle. When Tesla accepted Bitcoin in 2021, it was viewed as huge news, but few people took advantage of the opportunity. For buyers in the US, there are major tax implications. Buying a car with crypto means selling that crypto and taking the tax hit. Cool move by Ferrari, but unimportant for the market during the bear. Yeah, and so that's pretty much how I feel. Now, not that I wouldn't be willing to do this. If we're talking, if things line up in such a way where my XRP is worth, a point where I'm going to sell it, if I want to make such a purchase, well, then it's just easier for me, right? Just send the damn XRP on over, rather than, convert it to cash and then send the cash over. That's an extra step. So this is the neat thing. As merchants continually head in the direction of accepting crypto, for people that want to, reduce their exposure from a particular asset class, crypto, it can actually make a lot of sense to just spend the damn crypto then and buy the Ferrari or whatever it is that you want to buy. Maybe it's a cup of coffee. I'm just saying. And you will see more of this. It's just, obviously, most people are speculating rather than purchasing stuff with crypto, which I do not have a problem with. I think that the speculators get beaten over the head verbally all the time. They get the shaft, and I'm just sitting here thinking they're the reason that there's so much excitement and stuff happening in crypto, which allows developers to keep doing the stuff that they're doing that ultimately leads to utility. I just think that the speculators out there deserve way more credit than they get. So if you're out there and you're not using your crypto and you're not developing, you deserve way more credit than you are getting for participating in this space. It's people like you and people like me, because I'm not doing a damn thing with it either, to be honest with you. I'm not a developer. If I were, then that would be fun, but I'm just not the developer type. But we deserve more credit. Can you imagine if there were none of us? There wouldn't be crypto. There wouldn't be all of the use cases. We make it possible, right? And so I think when people bitch about this, like, all these people, they're so greedy. They just want to have my money. Blah, blah, blah. They won't even use it. Well, bitch, give us a reason to use it, because I'm telling you what, we're helping to evolve to the point where we get there. But don't beat us over the head for speculating. Jesus. But it grinds my gears, son. Then there's this from Attorney John Deaton. He shared a post from Frank Shapiro. Frank Shapiro is the editor-at-large at The Block. And he wrote, "We'll read on the flight tomorrow," shared this picture of a book by Michael Lewis, Going Infinite, The Rise and Fall of a New Tycoon. And he is a number one New York Times best-selling author. Now, what this guy wrote is, mind you, full transparency, I haven't read it and I don't intend to, but by all accounts, it is repulsive and disgusting and bizarre what this guy wrote. It's a book praising SBF. And mind you, this book recently published, this is after the downfall of SBF. And I heard Attorney Deaton citing perspective from somebody who got 70 pages into this book, and there hadn't been any sort of indication that SBF had defrauded people and that he was operating a Ponzi scheme. And in fact, I saw a clip of Michael Lewis praising the FTX business model, and he said, yeah, I mean, if there wasn't that bank run, there was a great business model here. I'm sitting here thinking, oh my God, you little punk-ass badge. How can you possibly say that with a straight face? FTX stole customer funds, moved it to Alameda for wild speculation, and lost it. And but you want to say there's a great business model though. Oh, if only what? Yeah, how about if only they weren't a freaking Ponzi scheme? They would have been great. How about that? My God, this guy's living in a fantasy land, and so presumably this guy had written a ton of the book before this all went down, and presumably a lot of it just went unchanged, because it was one of these books where it was just praising him. Like he's the most incredible gift to the world, this SBF guy, this little butt nugget with a fro. And he just didn't change it. He's still just, it's just glowing. By all accounts, again, I haven't read it, but by all accounts, it's just glowing. And he just thinks it's unfortunate, but he's on Team SBF here. This guy destroyed people's lives, yet Michael Lewis is pro SBF? No thank you, sir, our madam. So Attorney Deaton reposted that and said, the only reason I would ever read this work of fiction is if Michael Lewis agreed to come on Crypto Law and debate its underlying premise. Scam, Bankman, fraud, credit to Moon Lambo, and he tagged me there, was, is, and always will be a narcissist sociopath incapable of shame or remorse. He's a liar, a thief, and a fraud, and has been since day one. Spot on, Attorney Dean. And by the way, the reason he tagged me is recently I've been using the name Scam, Bankman, Fraud, which I actually didn't make up. I appreciate the tag there, certainly, by Attorney Dean. So John Deaton in the earliest of days, he was calling him SB Fraud. And more recently, I saw somebody call Sam Bankman-Fried Scam Bankman-Fried. And then I just kind of slapped the two together. And other people had already done this. So, and I was always thinking, though, is there a good... What do we replace the Bankman with? We need something else. We are turned Sam into scam. We turned Freed into fraud. Those are pretty obvious in hindsight. What about Bankman? What do we put there? Well, here's a suggestion from somebody named Sparky who wrote to Attorney Deaton and said the original versions that sounded more appropriate were scam, bank run fraud, and scam, bankrupt fraud. And so I think that scam, bank run fraud rolls off the tongue a little bit better because bank run sounds closer to Bankman than bankrupt does to Bankman. So I'm going to go with scam, bank run fraud from now on, if I can remember to do that anyway. And so I wrote, I think we need to adopt scam, bankman, fraud, John Deaton. Thanks for the tag, John. I actually saw the scam part of the name from someone on X. I'd give that person credit, but I have no idea who it was. Yeah, so whoever wrote scam, bankman, freed, which is what I initially saw, thank you. Because it's in hindsight, it's so obvious. I just feel so much regret because I could have been saying this for most of the last year. Just missed opportunity, man. Missed opportunity. And then there was this from somebody named David. They wrote, holy F, this is literally evidence for the prosecution. I will be sorely disappointed if it doesn't end up in evidence, LOL. And what's being referenced here? It's a passage from Michael Lewis's book, Going Infinite, where he's just praising SBF. And John Deaton said, will no doubt be part of the cross-examination of Sam. And what is the part highlighted here in the book, Going Infinite? Well, it reads as follows. There's a functional religion around the CFO, Sam said. I'll ask them, why do I need one? Some people cannot articulate a single thing the CFO is supposed to do. They'll say, keep track of the money or make projections. I'm like, what the F do you think I do all day? You think I don't know how much money we have? Yeah, that's not exactly good for SBF, is it? It's not good for scam, bank run fraud, is it? Look, I can understand small companies not having a dedicated CFO. That can make sense, especially if you're an entrepreneur yourself. You wear a lot of hats, got it? When you're talking about a company of that size, yes, you need a CFO, you idiot stick. The hell is wrong with you? Yes, you need somebody that's focused specifically on that, delving deeply into the numbers on a daily basis, 40 hours a week minimum. Yes, you do need that. What in the ever-loving hell? And so all these people are tricked by him. Like, oh, I never thought about it like that. Why the F do we need the F? Oh, this is what Michael Lewis must sound like in his own head. Oh, yeah, why do we need that? Oh my God, shut the hell up. Like, yes, you need a CFO. This is completely absurd. This should show SBF's incompetency. If he had two employees, it'd be like, yeah, okay, yeah, you don't need a CFO. You are the CFO. You're the CEO, you're the CFO, you're the everything. Okay. But no. Yes, when you're a company that size, yes. And then you have a CFO that reports to you so that you can focus on more CEO-type stuff rather than being hyper-focused on the numbers, which is what a CFO is, to make sure that nothing's going through the cracks. And there are tons of reasons. And just because somebody can't articulate to you a reason, then maybe they're an idiot, like you, scam, bank run fraud. It's amazing. So yes, this is, if anything, it's going to make it look like, A, he could be hiding money, but B, like I'm looking at this, and I'm just like, even if not that, then it shows incompetence, which is not an excuse, by the way. He still stole customer funds. Either way, it makes him look bad. And this is in the book, which is supposed to make Sam look glowing. So I am glad it's in the book. I'm glad that part's in the book. But he didn't put that in to make Sam look bad. It's supposed to make it look wise, like, oh yeah, this guy's so baller, he didn't even need a CFO. Look at this baller ass son. No, that is not right though. Here's a headline from Cointelegraph. Caroline Ellison wanted to step down but feared a bank run on FTX. Caroline Ellison wasn't doing a good job leading Alameda Research in 2022, and she did not hide it. Excerpts from her personal notes shared as evidence by prosecutors in Sam Bankman-Fried's trial revealed details about the trading firm's struggles and its CEO's desire to resign weeks and months before FTX collapsed. Ellison spent over 10 hours testifying during Bankman-Fried's trial this past week, notably entering through the front doors of the United States District Court for the Southern District of New York in Manhattan, joined by her attorneys. Ellison said she had not seen Bankman-Fried since the crypto empire failed in November 2022, but their communication had eroded months before. In April 2022, their romantic relationship ended, and Caroline started avoiding meetings with Bankman-Fried, even though they still lived in the same luxurious apartment in the Bahamas. Now, folks, I'll note that their apartment, they're calling it an apartment in the Bahamas, it's basically a palace. It's gigantic. I can't remember how much that thing cost, but it was like millions of dollars is my recollection anyway. Absolutely gigantic. It's palatial. So even living in the same place, I don't know that they'd bump into one another. And I thought that a number of other people lived there as well. Just pulling from memory here anyway. Because I remember those stories from right after FTX collapsed, and it sounded just completely ridiculous and disgusting. But anyway, piece continues. I feel like neither Sam Trabucco nor I have been doing a great job of pushing on stuff, she wrote in the document to Bankman-Fried, which was shared as evidence during her cross-examination by the former FTX CEO's defense counsel. Bankman-Fried asked her to stay on, saying that her departure could create rumors about Alameda's financial health, thus harming FTX's credibility, so Ellison remained CEO. Yeah. It's just, I think that she understood the risk too, because even though she wanted out and she knew that she was breaking the law, she understood that Sam was right, and it could put more focus, she's right, it would have put more focus on them, which would have meant more odds of this getting uncovered, meaning more odds she goes to prison. So she probably felt trapped, but it's a prison of her own making. She deserves to be in actual prison, by the way. Anyway, Ellison joined Alameda as a trader in 2018. By 2020, she handled most of the company's operations, while Bankman-Fried focused on his newly launched crypto exchange, FTX. In August 2021, she became a co-CEO alongside Sam Trabucco, who stepped down a few months later, leaving her in charge of the company. In August 2022, Trabucco officially resigned as co-CEO. Ellison was against creating FTX. She revealed, I didn't think of myself as ambitious before I started at Alameda, but I believe I became more ambitious under Bankman-Fried's incentive, she said. As CEO, Ellison was in charge of handling Alameda's crypto lenders. In mid-2022, after the Terra ecosystem failed, the company's open term loans stood at $1.3 billion. The market downturn drained liquidity from crypto assets, prompting Alameda's lenders to demand loan repayments. According to Ellison, Bankman-Fried instructed her to keep repaying creditors via Alameda's line of credit with FTX. In other words, Alameda would use FTX's customer assets to repay crypto lenders. At the time, its line of credit with the exchange stood at $13 billion. And so that's pretty much the gist of it. That's the latest on this thing. I'm looking forward to seeing how this entire thing concludes. We're just a few weeks away from this in all likelihood. Again, from the beginning, from what I've seen, it's expected to go 4 to 6 weeks, meaning presumably by no later than roughly mid-November, we should see that Sam Bankman scam bank run fraud is found guilty. That's my anticipation. And then we'll find out after that at some point what the consequences will be penalty-wise, but at a minimum, it better be decades, if not life, because he's absolutely destroyed people, and he cannot be getting away with this. And I mean, he's not going to get away with it. It's just kind of a question of how strong will the penalty be. Like, I'm optimistic that justice shall be done here, but then the question is also after that, how many people are going to be happy with whatever the penalties actually are in terms of prison time. I'm not a financial advisor. You should not buy or sell anything because of anything I say or write. That would be a very, very, very bad idea. Until next time, to the moon, Lambo.